Federal agencies launched a multi-agency operation in San Francisco targeting a major drug trafficking network. During coordinated raids, authorities seized 22 kilograms of cocaine, large quantities of fentanyl, illegal firearms, and trafficking records. The operation exposed a network involved in narcotics distribution, human trafficking, and money laundering. Multiple suspects were arrested across several locations, including safe houses and storage sites. Investigators confirmed the group moved drugs through urban corridors, fueling overdoses and gang violence. Streets. Federal law enforcement agencies launched one of the largest coordinated drug enforcement operations San Francisco has seen in years. The multi-agency crackdown targeted a highly organized and deeply embedded drug trafficking network operating inside the city's urban corridors. The operation began in the early morning hours, with federal, state, and local agencies moving simultaneously across multiple locations. The objective was clear: shut down the network before suspects could flee, destroy evidence, or warn each other. Every minute mattered. Surveillance teams had tracked movements for months, mapping routes, identifying safe houses, and monitoring financial activity that pointed to a criminal organization operating at a scale far beyond street-level dealing. As teams breached targeted properties, investigators uncovered large quantities of narcotics. Authorities confirmed the seizure of 22 kilograms of cocaine, along with significant amounts of fentanyl. In addition to the drugs, agents recovered illegal firearms, ammunition, and detailed trafficking records outlining distribution routes, payments, and storage locations. Some of the weapons were loaded and positioned for immediate use, indicating the organization was prepared to defend its operations if necessary. Officials stated this was not a small street-level operation. The evidence revealed a structured organization with multiple layers, including suppliers, distributors, enforcers, and financial handlers. Each role was clearly defined. Couriers moved narcotics between locations under strict instructions. Enforcers ensured compliance, protected shipments, and deterred interference. Financial operators managed cash flow, concealed profits, and ensured money could move without triggering alerts. The network relied heavily on safe houses and hidden storage sites. Some locations appeared to be ordinary residences or small businesses, blending into surrounding neighborhoods without drawing attention. Others were modified internally to hide drugs behind false walls, beneath floors, or inside concealed compartments. Investigators described the operation as highly disciplined, with strict access controls and compartmentalized knowledge to reduce exposure if any single location was compromised. Investigators confirmed that fentanyl played a central role in the operation. The synthetic opioid was trafficked in both powder form and counterfeit pills designed to resemble legitimate prescription medications. Authorities warned that even small quantities of fentanyl can be lethal, making the seized drugs capable of causing mass harm if they had reached the streets. Officials emphasized that fentanyl's potency has made it one of the most dangerous substances driving overdose deaths nationwide. Law enforcement sources revealed that the organization deliberately targeted dense urban areas. High population, constant movement, and limited visibility allowed the group to distribute narcotics while minimizing detection. This strategy directly contributed to a rise in overdoses and drug-related emergencies across multiple neighborhoods. Emergency responders reported repeated overdose calls linked to substances consistent with the network's distribution patterns. During the raids, agents arrested multiple suspects at various locations. Some were detained inside safe houses, while others were captured at storage sites and transit points. Several suspects attempted to flee or destroy evidence, but were quickly detained by federal teams. In certain locations, suspects attempted to erase digital data or discard mobile devices. Actions, investigators say, further confirmed the organized nature of the operation. Beyond narcotics, investigators uncovered evidence of human trafficking connected to the organization. Authorities confirmed that the network exploited vulnerable individuals through coercion, intimidation, and manipulation. Victims were often isolated, moved frequently, and threatened to ensure compliance. Officials described a system designed to strip individuals of independence and make escape increasingly difficult. Financial investigators traced large sums of money flowing through hidden channels. The organization used cash-based businesses, intermediaries, and layered transactions to launder proceeds from drug sales and trafficking activities. Casinos, shell companies, and foreign transfers were used to obscure the origin of funds. Records recovered during the raids provided investigators with a detailed map of the financial network, revealing sustained activity over multiple years. Officials emphasized that the success of the operation relied on coordination between multiple agencies. Intelligence sharing, long-term surveillance, wire analysis, and financial tracking allowed authorities to identify key nodes within the organization. Simultaneous enforcement actions prevented suspects from warning each other or relocating assets once the operation began. Law enforcement officials stated that the takedown disrupted a major drug supply chain feeding San Francisco and surrounding areas. Analysts confirmed the seized narcotics represented millions of potentially lethal doses that will never reach users. Authorities believe the immediate removal of this supply will have a measurable impact on drug availability, pricing, and distribution patterns in the region. Public safety officials highlighted the broader consequences of trafficking networks like this one. Drug distribution fuels addiction, gang violence, and property crime. Overdose deaths, armed robberies, and territorial disputes often increase along established drug corridors. Communities affected by these networks frequently experience long-term damage, including reduced trust in public institutions and heightened fear among residents. Officials emphasized that the success of the operation relied on coordination between multiple agencies. Intelligence sharing, long-term surveillance, wire analysis, and financial tracking allowed authorities to identify key nodes within the organization. Simultaneous enforcement actions prevented suspects from warning each other or relocating assets once the operation began. Law enforcement officials stated that the takedown disrupted a major drug supply chain feeding San Francisco and surrounding areas. Analysts confirmed the seized narcotics represented millions of potentially lethal doses that will never reach users. Authorities believe the immediate removal of this supply will have a measurable impact on drug availability, pricing, and distribution patterns in the region. Public safety officials highlighted the broader consequences of trafficking networks like this one. Drug distribution fuels addiction, gang violence, and property crime. Overdose deaths, armed robberies, and territorial disputes often increase along established drug corridors. Communities affected by these networks frequently experience long-term damage, including reduced trust in public institutions and heightened fear among residents. Investigators noted that dismantling the network required patience and precision. Rather than focusing on individual street dealers, authorities deliberately aimed higher, targeting leadership figures, logistical coordinators, and financial controllers who kept the organization functioning. Officials explained that removing only low-level operatives would have allowed the network to regenerate within weeks. By attacking command, supply, and money flow at the same time, investigators weakened the structure in a way that made rapid replacement impossible. This approach required months of surveillance and analysis. Agents tracked communication patterns, monitored financial anomalies, and mapped relationships between suspects to identify decision-makers rather than expendable intermediaries. Each arrest was timed to preserve the integrity of the broader investigation. Officials described the strategy as surgical, designed to collapse the organization inward rather than scatter it outward. Authorities confirmed that the investigation remains active and ongoing. Analysts continue to examine seized records, encrypted communications, digital devices, and financial documents recovered during the raids. Thousands of messages, transaction logs, and location histories are being reviewed to identify additional participants in undisclosed assets. Officials believe the arrests made so far represent only a portion of the network's full reach. Investigators have also identified indicators suggesting the organization maintained connections beyond city limits. Movement patterns, financial transfers, and communication data point toward regional and potentially international links. Authorities stated that understanding these connections is critical to preventing displaced elements of the network from resurfacing under new leadership or relocating operations elsewhere. Federal prosecutors are preparing a comprehensive set of charges related to drug trafficking, conspiracy, firearms violations, money laundering, and human trafficking. Legal teams are assembling cases designed to withstand long-term judicial scrutiny. Prosecutors emphasize that the volume, consistency, and quality of evidence significantly strengthen the likelihood of sustained prosecutions and lengthy prison sentences. Sentencing guidelines suggest that several defendants could face decades of incarceration if convicted. Prosecutors stated that this reflects not only the scale of the criminal activity, but also the level of organization and harm inflicted on communities. Authorities described the case as one of the most extensive criminal prosecutions currently developing in the region. Officials stressed that operations of this magnitude send a clear and necessary message. Cities will be identified, dismantled, and prosecuted using every available legal tool. Organizational complexity, financial resources, and intimidation tactics will not shield criminal enterprises from accountability. Law enforcement leaders emphasize that the case underscores a broader enforcement philosophy. Criminal networks thrive when they believe systems can be exploited or overwhelmed. Breaking that perception is as important as removing drugs from the streets. Officials stated that visibility of enforcement outcomes plays a key role in deterrence. As the city absorbs the impact of the raids, investigators continue working to ensure the network cannot reestablish itself. Properties linked to the organization are being seized or placed under review. Financial accounts are frozen. Licensing records are audited. Authorities are systematically removing the infrastructure that allowed the network to operate undetected for extended periods. Public safety officials reiterated that preventing future harm remains the central objective. Removing dangerous substances from circulation reduces overdoses. Disrupting trafficking corridors lowers associated violence. Protecting vulnerable individuals weakens the human cost exploited by organized crime. Each component, officials said, contributes to restoring stability within affected communities. Law enforcement leaders acknowledge that no single operation can eliminate drug trafficking entirely. However, dismantling major supply chains significantly reduces availability, violence, and loss of life. Authorities stated that the cumulative impact of sustained enforcement actions creates conditions where rebuilding becomes increasingly difficult and costly for criminal organizations. Officials added that sustained pressure will be essential moving forward. Continued cooperation between federal, state, and local agencies allows intelligence to flow quickly and enforcement actions to remain adaptive. Community engagement also plays a critical role, rebuilding trust and encouraging reporting in neighborhoods previously silenced by fear or intimidation. The case stands as a clear example of how coordinated enforcement, detailed intelligence work, and long-term investigation can expose and dismantle criminal organizations operating in plain sight. Investigators noted that patience, rather than speed, proved decisive in identifying the network's true structure and vulnerabilities. In the aftermath of the operation, agencies are conducting extensive internal reviews designed not only to document success, but to identify weaknesses, delays, and missed signals that allowed the network to operate for as long as it did. These reviews examine every phase of the investigation, from the first intelligence indicators to the execution of coordinated raids. Officials said the goal is institutional learning, ensuring future operations move faster, strike smarter, and disrupt criminal networks before they reach similar scale. These evaluations focus heavily on strengthening interagency coordination. Investigators are analyzing how information flowed between federal, state, and local partners, where bottlenecks occurred, and how intelligence sharing can be accelerated without compromising accuracy. Refining investigative techniques, particularly in financial tracking and digital surveillance, has become a priority as criminal organizations increasingly rely on encrypted communication and complex money laundering structures.